Hey everybody, Bernie Gallerani with another episode of Success is Not Convenient. Everything related to business, sales, numbers, process, mindset, you name it, we're doing it. We're bringing you these episodes each and every week on business processes, just stuff that has to do with anything sales, business related, mindset, stories, things of that nature. And we are going to be talking about the salesperson and the company. And that means, how do we coach you up as a salesperson or coach you out of the organization, right? Push you up, cause you to have a level of success that is a minimum standard for the company, or push you out, meaning it's probably just not for you. And so this is what this episode is going to be about today is, do you have what it takes to be a top performing salesperson? Do you have what it takes to meet the minimum standards of what the company requires of you? You're either getting pushed up or pushed out. There is absolutely no middle lane. You either prove your value early in this process as a salesperson, or you start packing your things without even knowing it. Today, we're talking about what has to happen in order for you to win and what you have to give up to keep winning. And why for most people, that's just okay. They just simply don't make it, and that's okay too. That's telling us something that we need to really focus on, and maybe this is just not for you. It's very possible that if you're a salesperson that's struggling, how do we identify how you're struggling and what is it we can do to help you? And if we can't help you, how do we encourage you to move on, right? So when you get hired in a job, a sales job, the game starts early. High performance sales, the clock starts ticking on day one. What we want to know as owners is, do you have the measurables? Do you have the get up every day to do the things that make you uncomfortable, to have the conversations, to practice the scripts or dialogues, to be fully focused and determined in order for you to win every day? If you're not winning early, you're already behind, because we have a measurable as owners that we have to look at and go, if we're paying you a salary, how much time do we have to get you to understand the learning curve? First impressions matter. When you're looking as a salesperson, when you're looking at your opportunity for your company to grow, you're a part of that equation, which means that whoever's paying you as a salesperson, you have to perform. And in any job that you have, I would say it doesn't matter if you're a salesperson or you're not a salesperson, you have to perform within a time frame. And typically you give them about 90 days. In about 90 days, you can tell whether or not somebody really has it or not. But what's fun is we actually just track the things that are the smallest things to give you a trajectory of success. If you can't follow the basic processes of day-to-day work, we are already looking at you like, is this going to be a week, a month, a 2-month process, right? The first 30, 60, 90 days define the internal brand. Internal brand meaning who you are. Who are you? We don't know that as employers, so we look at that and go, who are you as a person? Are you someone that's fully committed to the business? Do you come in each and every day on time? Do you have a good attitude? Do you track your measurables and you work your measurables, the process of the things you can control, right? Managers decide early who they're betting on. Believe it or not, as owners, we can tell whether or not you have what it takes very early on. Early success isn't everything, but it's often the only thing that we really remember. And so one of the things that we will work on as owners when it comes to top salespeople or employees is, are you doing the small things, showing up, being positive? Are you doing those at a high enough level that gives you a chance to succeed at a high level? And that's the question I think everyone needs to understand. I can tell you within the companies that I have, if you show up on time and you have a good attitude and you're willing to learn the things that you have to learn in the process, you are probably going to make it. We usually can tell for those that aren't committed, we can usually tell they're not committed to a lot of things within the company or what is needed within the company in order to succeed. If you think you have 6 months to figure it out, you're already losing. You're just behind. And even in the world we live in, and I'm in the real estate business, but in the world we live in today, we can usually tell week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And what I try to share with my folks here, meaning my management team, is there's no reason to keep them month 2 if in month 1 they're already struggling just to do the basic things, right? So we're pushing you up. We're coaching, we're training, our systems, our dialogues, our process, our procedure. So we're pushing you up to see, can this person go up? If they can't go up, they got to go out. We got to push you out because it's too expensive for any organization to keep somebody who doesn't produce at a high level. Organizations have 2 lanes. It's up or out, right? And and one of the things that we do within our company is we say, you're really interviewing for a job, even though we've hired you for a job. It's we like you, we interview you, we think you have talent. And then at the same time, we're then saying, okay, we're betting that this person we've chosen has what it takes in order to succeed at a high level. Here's the fun and exciting part. We never know. We never know because we don't know who's showing up. We know who showed up in an interview. If you're an employer and you are watching this, you're probably going, yeah, I totally get it. Like you can interview someone and like them, but in the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how well you like them in the interview. It only matters how they perform, right? There's no middle ground in high pressure sales culture. It just, you're either getting pushed up or you're getting pushed out. There is a middle, there is a top, and there is a bottom. And if you're not growing, you're being groomed for an exit. And what that means is we're watching and coaching and training and watching and coaching and pushing and accountability and learning and inspiring. And if you don't change, you're out because we can't just keep people unless they produce, especially as salespeople. I've got somebody in my company right now that's fairly new, a couple months, I'd guess. And this person is one of the first people in the building, one of the last people to leave, and is probably going to be the most successful salesperson we've had in our company for the shortest time that they've been here, meaning their success in the business they're doing with our company is beating almost every single person ever inside of our company. And why is that? Not overly talented, and what I mean by that, not being disrespectful, but not like she knows the system or understands it, anything. The only thing is she's very determined to be successful. So if you're somebody that says, man, how does this video help me? Here's the question I would ask. Are you fully determined and dedicated to getting the job done? Are we going to bet on you and say, we actually, not only do we think this person's going to make it, but holy smokes, we think this person's going to be a rock star. Early success is everything, but it's often the only thing that owners like ourselves or business owners actually remember is having early success, as I just mentioned about the young person who works with the company today that is having a high level of success, that's very memorable. I mean, I can look back 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years and remember the young people or the salespeople that came into this business who strived to succeed and had such a high level of success. You're like, wow, man, that person was really great. Why were they great? What made them different? It's their effort. It's what goes on inside their head. It's the discipline that they have. And so if you're one of those disciplined people, congratulations. If you're not, that's okay. Can you become disciplined? Can you learn how to be disciplined? Can you stay committed? Can you stay focused on the things that matter the most, right? You control your controllables. What can you control? You can control what time you get up. You control what time you be in the office. You can control your attitude. If you're making phone calls, you can control that. If you're counting your time, you can control that. You can control your attitude, expectations, right? And your approach. You can control all of those things. If you think you have the 6 months to figure it out, you're already losing. You're already behind if you think that you have time. So what I'm going to encourage everybody here to consider is you don't have time. Every day is a day that you have to perform. Every day, every week, every month. We have a little thing inside of our company, and it's called a 90-day measure. And we look at 90 days of a sales cycle for you as the salesperson. I'm not even sure kind of how and why we created it, other than it does have some benefit. But I was sharing with the sales manager over the last couple of weeks, the 90-day kind of says, okay, they have a bad month, but they really are graded or measured on what happens this month. How are their sales this month? We can give grace for some people that have, for some reason, there's a family thing going on. You know, they're just down on their luck. They've been feeling well, whatever it might be. So we have this 90-day sales cycle, but really the 90-day sales cycle doesn't mean anything other than, hey man, you got a bad month, or hey, you've had a bad month. we're going to, give you some grace on this. We totally understand. But you can't have 2 bad months, because if you have 2 bad months, you're probably out. So we are a high pressure sales organization. And what that means is we have to perform, right? And what happens then when you get pushed up, right? When you get pushed up, right, or coached up, as we like to say, when you get coached up, you have a higher level of success. But with the higher level of success, you have more responsibility. You get more visibility. You naturally have more pressure on you as you succeed. We have a ton of those great people in our company who have been pushed up. And we've had a ton of people that have been pushed out. And either one, it doesn't mean that the people aren't great. It just means that they're not the right fit. But if you are one of those people that have exceeded at a really high level, boy, oh boy, does it start to change for you. You actually become a model for the company, and it's something for really to strive for. So we look at it as something, you either become a model, right? A model person, like the one I mentioned a little while ago, or you become a warning, like, let's see who this person is. Like, I know what some of these people are because I see them, and some produce at a very high level and they have the right approach and right mindset, the right expectations for themselves. But others, right away, something is not right. Like, man, they just have a hard time staying committed. Success makes you really, if you're one of those that are pushed up, it makes you a target, right? It's the expectations start to double in you, right? And you have to go, okay, well, gosh, now everyone's gunning after you. Everybody wants to, man, I want to be that person. Hey, I want to be that person. I want to be that person. So what happens when you're that kind of person where you're coming in on time, you got a great attitude, you're doing the systems, the processes, the procedures, everything you're supposed to do, the pressure, because the success comes, right? And when the success comes, the pressure starts to build. Oh my gosh. Right? More eyes are on you, less margin for error, right? Like when no one's really paying attention to you, you can kind of fly under the radar, right? I'm kind of flying under the radar. Are you kind of that person too? Maybe where flying under the radar is kind of more your style? And if it is, there's nothing wrong with it. But sales organizations don't really want those kinds of people, that they're kind of quiet, they're coming in, they're not doing anything, they're not making any big sales waves, they're just kind of just hanging in there. Most sales organizations don't want that. What they want is people who want to be rock stars, right? Might just be a person that just says, hey, I don't really like that. Totally get it. But if you're getting asked to be pushed out because you don't have that, it's okay. When you're a top salesperson, like when you're really focused and dedicated, you're going to probably have to give up like evenings, and you're going to have to give up weekends. You're probably going to be out of balance at some level, right? Typically, I love this too. It's like, well, I really want to have a balanced life. It's very difficult to have any level of success in any certain area and have a balanced life. If you're one that says, hey, I like my nights, my weekends, I like being home at a certain time, I have to stay home until a certain time, I don't like being bothered on the weekends, probably not for you, this video, right? This video is for top earning people who either decide they're going to be a top earning person or they make a decision that they're not going to be a top earning person. The question is, are you going to be at the bottom? And that's where we're trying to take this video and say, how do we push people up to the top? How do we get people at least to the point where they're not being considered to be pushed out, right? Everyone wants to be in the top. I mean, I've not ever met a salesperson that doesn't say, yeah, I'd like to be like that top person. But what they don't realize is what the top 1% actually cost them. Top 1% doesn't cost you a lot in finances, but man, oh man, does it cost you a lot in time. It costs you a lot with your friends. It costs you a lot with your spouse. It's definitely going to cost you at times with your family. What do you have to give up? Or are you willing to give up? That's really the question. Are you willing to give up something or get pushed out? Climbing means sacrificing balance in your life. Late nights, you're probably not going to have a lot of those. Missed events, you're probably going to miss things. When you're a top salesperson or you're a person that excels at a level higher than most, you have a little bit more of emotional strain on your life. I was doing a training recently, and I was talking about versatility and about growth. And one of the things that I've learned about running the businesses that I'm part of is being uncomfortable and having some emotional strain and some just emotional power, brain power, that's always on high octane all the time. It's exhausting. But I also understand that without a little bit of fear, without a little bit of uncomfortableness, that I know I'm not growing as a person. So the question is, are you growing as a person? It often requires kind of reshaping the identity around performance? Are you willing to reshape your thinking so you can push yourself up to the top? Staying up is a completely different game than most people understand. And it takes a level of resilience to stay at the top. Because here's what's cool. Someone's coming after you if you're at the top. Someone's coming after you, right? You're working hard. You have some success. You're getting some accolades. People are patting you on the back. And you think, man, I'd love just to take my foot off the gas just one little bit. You can't, because someone's gunning for you. Someone wants to be you. I remember coming up through the ranks and go, man, I want to sell like that person. I want to have the accolades, and I want to, I want to have the income like that person, man, that person, right? And you just push and push and push. And then once you get there, you're like, yeah, and you celebrate for a second, but guess what? Someone's coming after you. And here's the worst part, but maybe it's the best part too. The haters, the people that they just can't stand that you're successful. And I always find like the people who talk about you the most are actually the ones that are doing the least. Isn't that interesting? The ones that say things that try to bring you emotionally down. See, the strong people don't get frustrated by the haters. They get empowered by the haters. And I remember when I was starting to sell real estate, and I was very successful early, and you get to the people where they start talking about you, and you're like, man, what did I do? And I was talking to a real estate coach about it, and he's like, you did nothing but succeed, and people don't like successful people. They just want to bring people down because it makes them feel good. So if you're going to be a top salesperson, expect haters, expect people talking about you, because people can't always be joyful. I would say people are probably more focused and excited maybe about you failing than about you winning. And that's because they're used to failing. And so it's important for all of us to understand that it takes a special person to stay up and stay late at work. It takes a special person to go to bed early because I got to get up early. It takes a special person to be totally focused that no matter how tired they are, they're getting up anyway. It takes a very determined person to say, I'm going to be to work on time. Matter of fact, I'm going to be there early. It takes a very powerful person to say, I got to do this job, but I'm going to do 10% more. It takes a very strong person to say, hey, listen, I'm going to stay late. I'll heat my food up in the microwave when I get home. You know what? We all have responsibilities. I had to have two children, and they were little, and you make time, you figure it out, and you try to have the family dynamic. But you know what? In the end, it's all worth it. Allow yourself to be convinced not to be successful. People start measuring your fall and not your rise. They actually like you to fail. They want you to fail because they can't measure up. See, what happens is you're determined, you're focused, you're in early, you're doing all the things we were talking about, and all they do is make up constant excuses. They renegotiate with themselves. That's the fun part, is you look at it going, why would you renegotiate that? Well, you don't understand, I got this going on. Well, we all have something going on. The challenge of staying up is hard, but it's even harder keeping yourself up, keeping yourself there. You become a benchmark for others that are gunning for your spot. They want your spot, and you just have to say, I'm denying anybody taking my spot. People go, well, is that an ego? Yes. Successful salespeople have an ego. The question is, are you egotistical? Ego is part of becoming successful. It's called confidence. Being egotistical, you don't want to do that. Being egotistical, being confident means you can help other people, and you're not at all worried about someone catching you. I used to let people say, well, you're teaching people all this stuff. I hear this all the time, by the way, not just with these videos, but I'll do workshops and people come from all around the country to come see our operations. And they go, why are you teaching everybody everything? Like, why do you open everything up that you do? No one's going to beat me, because if they beat me, it's only because I let my foot off the gas. There's a lot of talented people out there, but the minute I allow somebody else to ever believe that we can be beat in anything, boy, tell you what, I need to do a better checkup from the neck up, right? And always be focusing on allowing ourselves to keep fighting for the things that we want. It's super important that we allow ourselves to become better every day than who we were yesterday. Who are we going to be tomorrow? What happens when you get the ability to have all of the things you ever wanted to have? It's totally worth the sacrifice that you have to put in, the things you have to give up. Or we can just get pushed out. And sometimes getting pushed out is okay. Sometimes it's just you identifying that maybe it's just not the right job for you. You're no longer a part of the club that says we're going to push in this area, but you might be talented in other ways. It's not when you get pushed out, it's not personal, but it always kind of feels that way. Like, oh man, I tried this and I didn't succeed at the level I wanted to. It's okay. Failure is a part of the game. And just because you tried something doesn't mean that you're not successful at something or can't be super successful at something else. We just have to make sure as team owners that we're aligning our team with the people that we want to have. And if we have somebody that isn't feeling it, isn't fully committed, can't show up on time, or they're not empowered by the team, the culture, if that's it, it's okay. It's okay to move on. Sometimes it's okay just to say to yourself, this is not really for me, right? It hurts. If you get pushed out, it's humiliating, but it's not the end of the road for you. It's the start of the next chapter. If you can see it that way, then you'll be super empowered. But if you feel like you're victimized, then what happens is you put your head down and you say to yourself, maybe this is, I'm just not a good salesperson, or maybe this is not the field for me. It doesn't mean that. Maybe you're just not empowered by the process of how you have to sell. Maybe you look at the business and say, I don't really want to sell like this, and this company requires me to sell like this, and this doesn't align with who I think I am. Not everybody has what it takes, and that's okay. Truth is that most people don't make it in sales. Most people who try sales are not successful at the level they want to. This game isn't for everyone. It doesn't mean that you're weak. It's all about you being aware of your self-worth. It's all about you saying, you know what, I tried this, it didn't work for me, but it doesn't mean you're not great at other things. And the reason why most people don't succeed, usually the reason why most people don't succeed, is they have a level of fear, definitely lack consistency. I would say from my experience, it would be the lack of consistency is why most people don't even make it to that like middle group, that 80% group, right? You have your 10% at the top, your 80% in the middle, and your 10% at the bottom. 10% typically gets pushed out. But fear, inconsistency, and typically for some companies, lack of systems. Don't feel that if you aren't successful, that you're not worth something. You just might not be feeling it for that particular company. It's very possible that that just doesn't work for you. If you're a salesperson or you're a person that exceeds at a high level, you often already have elite habits, emotional resistance, kind of a chip on your shoulder, right, to prove something. Comfort is the enemy. Comfort, like I always talk about, like people go, well, I really want to, I don't really like it that way. I want to do it my way. That's fine. It's your life. You could do it any way you want, but most people can't live to be uncomfortable long enough to even break through the level of success. It's not that people can't. It's that they won't change their comfort in order to be uncomfortable enough to have a breakthrough, right? We talked about like the 10-80-10 rule, right? The 10-80-10 rule in sales is the top 10% are the person who like exceeds at the top, right? They're the top salespeople that everyone's like, hey, I'm gunning after you. I really want you, right? The middle 80%, we call those the survivors. And those are the ones that are kind of tipping the scales. Some months they have good months, some months they have bad months. It was like that 90-day kind of process where you have good months, bad months. 10%ers don't typically have that. 10%ers, they're usually the ones at the top always. Their bad months are still better than any of the middle's good months. Then you have your bottom 10%. Those are the ones that we're always looking for. Those are the ones that we're saying, should we keep them in the company, and what are they costing us to keep them around? What's the difference between these groups, right? You have 100% of them, 10 at the top, 80 in the middle, and 10 at the bottom. The difference really is the mindset, the execution, and the obsession that they have to be great. Now, I know I'm hearing what you guys are saying. You're giving up a lot. Maybe, and if that makes you feel good to say that, that's okay. I'll accept that if that makes you feel good. But in reality, the only person that feels good by saying that is you. Well, and I've heard it before where people are like, well, I'm not willing to give all that up. Okay, that's fair. I'm not willing to live in poverty. I'm not willing to not have an abundant life. I'm not willing to not have a lot of money in the bank. I'm not willing to sacrifice the things and the dreams that I have. So am I going to give up some things? Sure. But I'm gaining a lot more. I love Dave Ramsey's got a great saying. It says, if you live like no one else today, you'll live like no one else tomorrow. If you work like no one else today, you'll live like no one else tomorrow. And that's the best part, is what you can do in the middle means that you can probably get to the top. The ones in the bottom 10%, they're probably just striving to get to the middle. And so what you have to ask yourself is this. It's okay if you're at the bottom, striving to get to the 80%. And it's okay if you're at the 80% and you strive to get to the 10%. But the question is, what are you going to give up to get there, right? Don't coast. Build habits and ask for feedback and talk with people, to hang out with people, right? Seek mentorship from those ahead, not peers. Let me say this again. Go out and seek to be a mentorship, meaning you're looking for mentorship from those ahead of you. If you're in the 80%, I want you to look up. We have a 10% group in my company, and every company probably has them, right? And you look at this going, instead of sitting there going, because I hear like, well, the reason why they're there is they've been here a lot longer. The reason why they have that is because they're favored. The reason, like, whatever the reason is. I mean, people always come up with stuff in their crazy head, and they come up with reasons why they think people should do stuff, or why other people have what you don't have. I mean, literally, I can't tell you. They're like, well, the reason why so-and-so has that is because of this. No, the reason so-and-so has that is because they outworked you. They were out-focused. They were out-determined. They were out-skilled. That's why they did it. They were more focused. They're more focused. So the question is, are you going to be focused? Find people who are doing that and go to them. Don't go to the people selling like you're selling. Don't go to the people doing what you're doing. That isn't going to help you. Go seek the people who want to go out. Seek the people who you want to be like. Go find those people. You may not even get pushed up, but you can climb up. You may not get like, oh my gosh, I can't even keep up with this person. They're moving so fast. You might be one where a sales organization has to continue to keep pushing you and creating force for you to be successful. And when I say force, meaning coaching and training at a higher level, talking to you about where you think your hangups are, being fully committed into the business. That's pushing you up. But at some point, if we don't respond, we got to kind of push out, because we realize what happens is we can't change who you are as a person. There's too many old habits. Or you're so convinced that this is not the way you want to live your life, and that's okay, because getting pushed up isn't a promotion, it's a challenge. Do you understand that the responsibility when you push somebody up, it's hard for them, just like it is for you. Getting pushed up has a different set of issues, and getting pushed out has a different set of issues. It's almost like if you get pushed out, it's like a redirection. It's like, okay, hey, listen, we tried this thing. Think you're a great person. I love what you stand for, but maybe this just isn't for you. If you're being pushed up, know what you're stepping into. So if you're like, hey, listen, I really want to be pushed up. I mean, I seriously want to have what that person has. Kind of know what you're stepping into. If you're being pushed out, know it's not the end of the road at all for you. Like, there's nothing wrong if you get pushed out. But if you're in the middle, here's your wake-up call. If you're the one that's if you're not the top person in your company, but you're in the middle, there's a bottom group too, but you're in the middle, this is your wake-up call, because the clock is ticking. Decide which direction that you're going to be heading in, or out. And either one of those things are fine. I want all of us to understand, and every owner here appreciates this, right? Is we are really just seeing who you are. And when we choose to have you in our organization, we're having you in our organization because we feel like you're going to be a person that'd be great at the top. What I want to share with everyone today, and thank you for joining me, is that anybody can do this. Anybody at all could be the person who wants to be in the top percent. The only difference for those that succeed at a high level is the level of determination and grit that they have. We are not going to sugarcoat anything that has to do with success, because we understand one thing, as the title of our podcast is, success is not convenient. And we know, or I know, that for those that listen here are not going to like some of these messages that we are delivering. And personally, I don't care, because my job is to help, I should say, people that say, hey man, I really want to learn something and go to the top. Or, hey, listen, thank you for the message. I realize that this business probably is not for me. And either way, you're a winner. Just make a decision, because there's no way anybody should ever go through life and not being happy. You know, I was reading something, and I'm sure you guys have read it too, where it says 85% of the people hate their job. Think about that. 85% of the people hate their job. Wow, that is intense. I couldn't imagine going to work every single day and hating what I did. If that is you today, go find something that inspires you. You deserve it. Your family deserves it, because if you're unhappy at work, you're probably unhappy at home too. You're probably just carrying all that stuff at home. If you're happy at work, you're probably carrying that at home. If you're in a sales job you don't like, get out. There's a lot of sales jobs. If you want to be a salesperson but that one doesn't work, just get out, go looking. But remember, as a company and as an owner, our job is to make the most successful salespeople we can. And there's always going to be a top, and there's always going to be a middle, and there's always going to be a bottom. Don't be the bottom and get pushed out. Push up or get out. Hope you guys enjoyed this message of Success is Not Convenient. If you'd like, hit the subscribe button. We would love to, and the like button, we like that too. Like button's good. Subscribe button. And we want to just keep bringing these things to you. It's a pleasure and a blessing to get an opportunity to be able to deliver these to you. And we want to continue to keep doing that. Hope everybody has a great day.